All aboard the night train.
I throw my tape on, then I watch you 3 seconds later. I got you shaking your head, dancing instead of sitting. The rhymes kick, the beat's hitting you just like a home run, slamming like a slam dunk. Ride the wave, James Brown, Dave Funk, it happened to James like it happened to me.
Okay, hopefully that took care of the problem. You know, guys, I am just old, and it's bad when you are old and you're new with technology. And that is basically me. Hopefully, you guys have sound. Let me double check over here. Forgot to plug that into the good old computer. Yes, we have sound. You know, it really sucks when you're old because, you know, when I grew up, we didn't have all this great stuff that you guys have. You guys are truly blessed because, you know, I had to actually go to the library and use the Dewey Decimal System and look up at a book to find out anything. So, damn you, Joe Boo, stop playing. Yeah, Jeremy, that's really, really funny. Kevin, how you doing tonight? Are you going to be in trolling tonight or what? So far, so good on the stream. I changed some of the settings, tweaked it a little bit, and looks like so far we've got a great signal. Hopefully, it's not too bad. So how's everybody doing tonight? I hope all of you guys are great. I am excited. I am happy. And I cannot wait for the football season to get here. And one other thing I certainly can't wait for is getting Joe Boo a refill. And all of you people who've ordered shot glasses, I want to thank each and every one of you guys. You guys deserve a refill as well. And if you're a drinker, pour yourself a little one. And I'm going to pour myself a little one over here too. To join Joe Boo. So I'm not really stealing his Joe Boo's rum. I'm just borrowing some from him. So here we are, the last week of OTAs. We have 2 more days of practice left. So far, nothing but a few little minor nicks and bumps, nothing to worry about with the players and things in the field. But I got to tell you, I don't know if you guys feel it. As I tell you guys, I'm old. I'm like a Super Bowl baby. I'm going to be 52 this year, the same as the Super Bowl. And I got to tell you, I feel something special. I can't guarantee that it's going to be a Super Bowl, but this team has truly evolved. And the way they have come together, the fact that everybody has been at OTAs, the fact that nobody's injured. People are fighting for positions, not, cussing each other out. Tennessee, badass redneck. Tennessee is awesome. I've only been to Middleton, Tennessee, Nashville, Tennessee. They were definitely both cool. But Blake, I was getting ready to get to D-Law, DeMarcus Lawrence, a guy who's had a bad rookie year, except for the playoffs. A great sophomore year, third year injury, drug suspension, yada, 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 performance enhancing, and is now kind of back out there, and he is looking really, really good. And if that guy ends up looking good, along with the rotation, all of a sudden we're going to go from a defensive line that was a liability to possibly a really, really good one. Joe Boo looks Yeah, Jobu looks a little bit crazy. His hair is just kind of out there. We have to do something. No, Jobu's not low at all. He's just kind of got his hair jacked up. What was the song? How You Like Me Now. Cool Mo D from back in the day when I was like young and in college. I don't. We got Dak. No sound? Jackie, no sound? Are you sure? Still no sound? We will have trouble, Mark. Well, I don't know. We're going to make it happen. Jackie, are you saying I don't have any sound in here? My audio output is showing that I do. Maybe that's just yours. I'm showing my age. Oh, believe me, I have no problem, telling people how old I am. I actually feel lucky that I'm still around. I'm so old. There are a few things that are older than me, like mountains, dirt, a few things. Oh, we can hear you. Okay. Jackie, I'm not sure what the problem is on your end, but everybody else says they can hear me. Audio's tip-top, sounds good. Okay, if I could just look better, then we'd be in great shape. Middle Tennessee by Adam is the best. Thanks. I was fortunate enough working with United Way. I give back with United Way and do a lot of stuff with them. I was fortunate enough to actually do a road trip to every NFL market with the exception of San Diego. And we literally drove almost every one of them. I mean, we flew from Oakland to Colorado, but pretty much everywhere else, and we flew to the Pacific Northwest. But it was great actually seeing the different sites, different locations, from the plains out west and the Grand Canyon into the Pacific Coast Highway, the flats in Florida, and of course the trees up in New England. So this country is actually beautiful, and if you ever have a chance to just drive the country, do it. It'll be the best experience that you will have in your life. But do one thing if you do. Get up every morning and watch the sunrise, because it's truly different in every location that you go. What is my favorite stadium? AT&T Stadium, of course, is incredible. Other good stadiums, I have to say, Lucas Oil is really good. And another one that's actually one of my favorites would have to be, believe it or not, the Lions. Ford Field. Very intimate stadium, not a bad seat in the house. The fans are actually really, really good. Worst ones would have to be FedEx Field and Jacksonville. Two terrible ones that I've been to. What's the latest on Richard Sherman? Well, Seattle's not talking about trading him, but you just kind of keep hearing little bits and pieces about not getting along, because it was Richard Sherman who actually went to them originally and talked about wanting to be traded. It wasn't the other way around, because there's still that hangover of Sherman and the running back, Marshawn Lynch, were best of buddies, and they still think that they should have run the ball like pretty much everybody else. And they still blame Russell Wilson, and they still blame the coaching staff on the fact that they didn't win that Super Bowl. So that's where there's kind of this tension that's in the locker room. And I also believe that Pete Carroll realizes what happens in football is this. You have a window of only a few years to win it. And you have to reload. If you hang on to those guys too long, you just start going downhill. And that's what happened with the Dallas Cowboys. And unfortunately, DeMarcus Ware, we should have actually looked at trading him maybe a year or two earlier before we released him. And I know people are going to say, F you, you're an idiot. But here's the thing. Take a look at New England. New England is a team that constantly is good. And the reason being is they end up valuing draft picks. They let the big-name free agents go, because most people don't think about this when you let somebody like DeMarco Murray go. We could have re-signed DeMarco Murray, and DeMarco Murray probably would have done really well. But see, here's the thing. We didn't take the cap number that we did for him. And when he left, we ended up getting what is known as a compensatory pick, a fourth-round pick. And I know you're thinking, big deal, a fourth-round draft pick. What can you get with a fourth-round draft pick? Well, believe it or not, we got Dak Prescott with that fourth-round draft pick. So we ended up saving $20-some-odd million on the cap, because the Eagles basically had a $21 million guaranteed contract with them. That money they had to pay for 1 year. We got an extra pick out of it. We didn't end up having the cap hit that we could have had. And that set us ahead. That's why right now we've got $17 million in cap room. We'll end up generating a little bit more as we start cutting down and getting rid of some of these other players. The fact that we have that, when you look at, say, the broke-ass Eagles, and I don't know if my buddy the Eagle guy is back in here tonight, but they are broke-ass. You know, those guys that are making fun of our Cowboys to start the year, about how we had no money and couldn't sign anybody and we're going to lose everybody. Yeah, those guys only have $1.9 million. And they're thinking, you know, it'd be nice if we went ahead and signed Jeremy Maclin again. He knows our system. You know, he's worked with our coaching staff. He's a great player. But, we'll need to cut some guys to do that. The Cowboys could sign him today with no pain. Not that I'm saying to sign him, but we have the option to do that. And a lot of people say, well, you need that money for Zach Martin. But basically, Zach Martin's deal is going to be kind of cap neutral. We're going to end up being able to sign him to something that'll be about a $3, $4, $5 million cap hit the first year because the way you stretch it out. You know, Jaylon Smith, even though we've used that contract as a piggy bank, is only like an $8 million cap hit. Travis Frederick, I think, is about a 5. So that still leaves us with money that if we see somebody out there that's really, really valuable, that's going to get cut, and we're going to see a lot of guys that get cut right now. You're just beginning to see a few of them. But between now and July, you're going to see a lot of veterans that are going to be axed that you're going to be able to pick up on the cheap. And I have to give credit to the Dallas Cowboys organization because this offseason, I can't guarantee we'll get a Super Bowl out of it this season. But the fact that we're going to get 4 compensatory picks next year, let me say it again, we're going to get 4 extra picks. The fact that we have $17 million right now bodes well for keeping to reload the team. Okay? Reliance Stadium, Reliance not that great. I mean, it's not a bad stadium. It was the first stadium that I went to Super Bowl in, but I'm not that big a fan of them. Some of the seats are kind of crammed together. When you're upper decks, they're terrible. I'm just not a big one of that one. But anyway, back to what I was saying. Our team is going to get 4 compensatory picks next year. 4. Probably 4th, 2/5, maybe a 6th or a 7th, somewhere in that range. That's pretty damn good. And that's one of those ways that New England is able to keep reloading year after year. They don't overpay their free agents. They let them go. Or if they know it's a guy that's going to want a big chunk of money, we'll trade him and get some draft picks. They're forever trading with Cleveland because they know it's going to be a high-round draft pick. That's how come they win year after year after year. They are more of the exception than the rule. Here's the thing. Let me guys show you the on it, and you'll be able to order them then. So yes, the Jobu t-shirts are going to be coming sometime real soon. And I have to thank Anthony. Anthony ended up sending me some salsa, Lobo's salsa. We'll go ahead and show you right there. And I cannot wait to use some of this on Taco Sunday. Let's see, there was a question about the Giants, and I got a whole bunch on the Giants. And hopefully we got some of those Giant trolls in here. The difference with that Cowboys, and I was saying how I feel that this team is coming together. When you hear Dak Prescott, it's like he's always obsessing about winning that ring. When he ended up putting the scarf on the statue and everything else, they said, "What's on your bucket list?" Hoisting the Super Bowl trophy. And you know that this guy is truly grabbing the reins of the team. And people are following in line, and they are following him. And when you hear these guys are excited. These guys want to be there, as opposed to, say, the New York Giants, where you have Odell Beckham, who isn't even bothering to go to OTAs. Now, I know he's a great specimen and in shape and all that. But with Eli Manning going downhill, being the turnover machine that he is, with that offense being as putrid as it was, even though they had great wide receivers and things, terrible offensive line, no running game, I would think that they could use as much practice as possible. Because, see, that all goes back to the whole thing of, here it is, they beat the Redskins, and he's flying to Miami to hang out with Justin Bieber. So you have to wonder, where is your head when it comes to the game of football? We don't have that problem in Dallas. We don't have a guy pulled over for smoking weed. Yes, we had Nolan Carroll drunk driving, who's owning up to his mistake and all that. He did come from Philadelphia. But he wasn't busted for weed. So you have to wonder, are the Giants about to implode? Because he's not the only guy who didn't show up for OTAs. JPP missed some time and so on. Redskins as well. They've missed some time. You've got some injuries with the Eagles. So I'm sitting here looking around, and at least on paper, the Dallas Cowboys have the better team than the rest of them. And I know the Giant Trolls are going to say, no, we beat you guys twice. We got the better team. We got a two-time Super Bowl winning quarterback. Yeah, okay. We'll see about that one. But I can't wait for the season to start. And back to the Sherman thing, I see a bunch of people are talking about that. I think it's one of those things that as we get closer and closer to training camp, that Seattle will be looking more and more to do something and move Sherman. And I think that's a possibility. And I know a lot of people say, man, we got all these young guys, and that's part of the problem. They're not bad guys. Cliff, thank you. Cliff, I have to agree with you. Cliff, thank you for the super chat there, buddy. Yeah, I don't want to rag on Jason Garrett because everybody knows I'm not that big a fan of Jason Garrett. He's a nice guy, love him, but to me, he's almost like a Little League coach. And I know a lot of people say, well, you don't necessarily need a guy who's going to keep a foot in people's ass, that he's a motivator and he's a player's coach. I understand that, but sometimes you have to hold guys accountable. And I don't know if he's been castrated by Jerry Jones or if he's just that nice of a guy. But sometimes, when a guy screws up, when you get a holding penalty, and it's would have been a 40-yard completion, or you jump off sides or you have a stupid penalty, you need to be able to get a look or at least tell the guy to sit his ass down because that's not acceptable. And in the same way that these guys keep having problems off the field with, performance-enhancing drugs, drunk driving. Hell, we had a drunk driving kill one of our players. After that happened, there should be no way in the world there should ever be another DUI on this team. That should be the first thing that anybody gets when they come in the door. Listen, this is not acceptable. If your ass wants to be here, boom, do that and you're gone. So don't get me going on Jason Garrett. I was in a great mood until he got me there. Yeah, Jason Garrett stuck with Dak. And, Blake, here's the thing. I always say, Jerry wants a lot of things. Jerry Jones is over here, and they're letting Jerry Jones be Jerry. Jerry's talking all kinds of crazy stuff that he wants from Johnny Manziel and even RG3. He's a real great guy. Yeah, I'd love to have him in Dallas. But you notice that most of the things that Jerry says over here very rarely happens over here with the team. And I think that they use Jerry Jones as a diversion, as a lightning rod. It was one of the things that Bill Parcells used to always do. Bill Parcells took the pressure off of his guys by being the lightning rod. Well, that's Jerry Jones. Everybody chases Jerry Jones. He's the decoy. The team is over here doing what they do. Aisha, thank you. I'm glad that you're here. And Sergeant Pete, I'm great. FR3SH914, it could be a little easier. Welcome to it. Jackie, some people think this is Match.com. Chlorine bleach is back. Oh, Lord, Lord, Lord. And Shallow Hal, you actually get one of these. Shallow Hal actually ordered a shot glass. I couldn't believe it. There's Victor Baker. Quentin Lewis, how are you doing? I don't recognize that one. Sandman's in the house. How you doing tonight, Sandman? Thank you very much. No question. Come on, man. Jerry loves the music. Jerry loves attention, and Jerry loves money. Where's Law Nation when we need him? Well, Law's probably taking care of his baby. He's also got a bit of a cold, so he's probably downwind. And for those of you who don't know who Law Nation is, and I can't believe if you don't, check him out. He has got a great YouTube clip on DeMarcus Lawrence. And DeMarcus Lawrence might be back like he was 2 years ago. And if he does, that's going to bode well for this defense. Quentin, okay, from Sulphur, Louisiana. Welcome to Jobu's Man Cave, and I appreciate the support, buddy. Well, here's the thing. Christian, on Nolan Carroll, it's possible. I mean, he is 30 years old. He does fit our system in the way that he didn't fit in Philadelphia. So it's really going to be a battle, though, because you've got the young guys. And I still think that they may try and make a move for Sherman. I can be completely wrong, and maybe I am, but for some reason, I don't think that Sherman deal is dead yet. But yeah, Dungy was nice. Tomlin, I'll disagree with you on. Tomlin will put a foot in your ass in a minute if you mess up. Carroll will do the same too. You don't see it so much on the sidelines with the media, but those guys will F you up in a minute and get your behind out of there. Well, thank you, Victor, man. I don't know about the best sports talk show on YouTube, but I appreciate that. Opinions on Rico. Well, Rico has been looking pretty good so far. It's OTAs. You don't really know what's what until you really have pads on there and you're really hitting and things. But so far, so good with him. I'm worried that they're putting too much on him, too much expectations. He's putting a lot on himself as well because he's looking at saying, hey, I want to take over for Jason Witten. But hopefully he is the real deal. If he is, then hey, man, then we definitely need that. It's for whatever reason, we've tried to get so many tight ends since we got Jason Witten, and for whatever reason, I don't know if it's the curse of Jason Witten or what, but we just can't seem to find the next guy. Death row. Oh, yeah, Jerry Jones going to save some money, yeah. I don't know that they're going to do to save all that. Raymond Styles, thank you for joining the Man Cave. A shout out to your channel, Humble Collector. Yes, definitely. Check out my man's Humble Collector's YouTube channel. I believe I'm actually subscribed to you, Raymond. If I'm not, I definitely will. Thank you. I appreciate the love on that one. Where was I? Law is practicing his Barry White voice. Yeah, he doesn't need to practice. Law does not need to practice his Barry White voice, man. He's got it down pat. Players coach. Yeah, but here's the thing. The one thing you have to worry about in today's NFL, it's not like when I grew up where you'd have the same head coach for 30 years. Guys have a tendency to tune you out, and if you usually don't win within 5 years, you need to kind of go in the opposite direction because sometimes you'll have a player's coach and you need a guy who's a disciplinarian. And then sometimes you have a guy who's a little too hard in that way, you need a player's coach. And I think it may be time to change. Because here's the thing. Jason Garrett does great in the regular season, but for whatever reason, it seems like when we have the big games, the games that are on the line where it's win, do or die, or you're out, for whatever reason, I don't know if his sphincter muscle just tightens up or what, but for whatever reason, we can't get over it. And it's not like it's just happened one time or, 2 times. Go back to the 8-8 years. Go back to some of these games like against the Lions where we're up by 2-3 touchdowns and we're still passing, or Green Bay. It seems like you're not making that call, that gut call that's going to be the difference of winning. How do I send you memorabilia? You can email me, go to the link up here, Cowboy Jobu, and email me, and I can give you my address. I don't want to put my address out there because, I've got eagle trolls and giant trolls that are hanging around. You never know what creepers might try and come in. Should we cut Randy Gregory? Well, here's the thing. Randy Gregory's not costing us anything right now because he's on suspension. He's not getting paid. So cutting him doesn't really do you anything other than cutting him just for the fact of cutting him. And I think what the Cowboys are looking at is the NFL Players Association today, basically is trying to enlist people's families to help change the opinion and the rules on marijuana. You've already got Jerry Jones and now Stephen Jones are also working on that. So I think the Cowboys' brain trust is, hey, if we can get them to change the policy, guess what? We got the guy. And he showed in those last couple of games last year that, yeah, he can play. He smokes some weed, but he can still play some football. So that's why you don't necessarily cut him right now. Hawkeyes, okay. Well, at the moment, it looks like David Irving's going to have to serve 4 games. But here's a good thing. Right now, we actually have too many defensive linemen. I mean, when you start thinking about Tapper is actually supposedly doing really well. We got Taco in there. We got Collins in there. We've got DeMarcus Lawrence. We've got Crawford in there. We've got Stephen Paya, who we haven't even seen yet on the field. You've got a lot of good guys. Now, the question is who is going to be the dominant one on that team? So we should be able to make it for a few games. And actually, it might not even be a bad thing because then you got some fresh legs that are going in there by week 4. We have an early bye week and things like that, so he can get in a little bit better shape as the season progresses, and maybe we have, fresher legs towards the end of the season. I think we definitely can win in the playoffs with Dak. It's going to be a tough schedule. I'm looking forward to it, but they'll be battle tested come playoff time. Even though a lot of people are picking the Dallas Cowboys to fail in the NFC East, I don't see it that way. I look at it as the team is in really good shape as far as best running back in the division, arguably the best quarterback in the division. I know you Eagle trolls will say that Carson Wentz is better, but, put down the crack pipe. I will say that Kirk Cousins isn't a bad quarterback, but the Redskins haven't even decided if they're going to pay him yet. He may be playing on a franchise tag again, and I don't think he has the weapons that the Cowboys have or the offensive line. Eli Manning is a turnover machine and didn't bust a grape last year. So we got the quarterback. We got the running back. The Eagles will say they have a better offensive line, but I don't agree with them at all. I think we've got the better offensive line. As far as wide receivers, you could say Giants, Redskins, Cowboys, you could say they're a wash, okay? But we still, with the other groups together, are better than those offenses. I think our defense is better from the fact of getting rid of some of the guys that we got rid of. Brandon Carr, great guy. Juicebox, thank you very much. Brandon Carr, great guy in the community, never gets hurt and everything else. The fund is coming along really, really well. And we are definitely going to start out with training camp first, and then we're going to be hitting some of the games and stuff, and we're going to definitely have some big-ass tailgate parties. And I'm hoping that a bunch of you guys will be there. And for the ones that won't be, we'll be broadcasting live from there, so that way we can spread the mojo for our Dallas Cowboys. Get to some more of your questions here. Jaylon Smith, I agree. Our pass rush should be 900 times better than last year, without a doubt. And that's the biggest problem we had. Our cornerbacks played pretty well with the fact that we didn't have a pass rush. But if you can get a pass rush, and I always say this, it's going great, White. If you can get a good pass rush, it's going to help all levels of the team. Because the opposite end is you can have great cornerbacks, but they're still going to have all kinds of time without a great pass rush. And I don't care how good a cornerback is, he can't hold up for 6, 7, 8 seconds on a continuous basis. But if you have a few beast defensive linemen that can get to the quarterback, if your D-backs only have to hold up for 2 or 3 seconds, hey, I could just about cover a guy. I will definitely FR3SH 914, definitely. I have been to the Dallas-Washington game in D.C. the last 3 years, and I will make it 4 without a doubt. Love the mojo. Thank you. Robert A. Man, Vito, laugh out loud. How about a buddy for Cowboy Joe Boo to hang out? Somebody sent him a girlfriend a few years back that's up on the shelf there. But and a few people think that he should have a woman, but Joe Boo belongs to the world and can't be tied down. He's a player. Yeah, I'm actually amazed, Jackie, about Kaepernick. When you look around with the lack of quarterbacks, some of the disasters that are actually starters right now, that Kaepernick is not playing. That is actually kind of a tragedy. I know a lot of people will say, well, he's not American. Forget all that. Look, the bottom line is football, it should be football and not politics. Okay? Can you play? There's controversial guys that are all over the field that are doing stuff. You got some guys that are rapists. And speaking of that, Roger Lewis from the Giants, who got busted for weed, he ended up twice being accused of rape. Think about that. So he was accused of rape twice. Now he's smoking weed. He's still on the field. Colin Kaepernick. Tony, thank you very much. Colin Kaepernick stood up for what he believed in, and he's blackballed. You see my point there? Whether you agree with what he did or didn't, it's our right to do what we want to do. So, be that as it may. The other big thing that I like, Joe Boo is an alcoholic player. Yes, he is, but he loves the women, and the women love him too. Definitely Sergeant Pete. I will be at Jerry's World at least twice this season. Brandon Green, let me go back up and see your last comment. Let's see, because they're flying through. It's hard to keep up with them, especially with my old eyes. What game I'm most excited about in 17 from Tony? What game am I most excited about? God, all of them. I'll be happy just to see a game. But I'm always juiced up for the Redskins Dallas games because no matter where the teams are, they can both be garbage, or one can be great and the other one can be trash. They are always going down to the wire, and they're always exciting. And for me, growing up, one of the biggest things about football was the trash talking. And having so many friends that are Redskin fans and all that, it's the trash talking the week of that I love so much. And for those of you who are, a lot younger than I am, you would have no idea what it was like with the Dallas Cowboys and the Redskins back in the day, in the 70s, 80s. It was literally electric in the air between the trash talking that went back and forth. Josh Norman would be mild back in those days. Matt, how you doing? Dallas versus, okay. Got your Dallas tickets, man. It's fantastic. I can't wait to see the Mobile Man Cave. You got Dak Prescott's rookie card for your birthday. Fantastic, man. Hopefully, Matt, I'll be at that game. Giants I'm thinking about going to New York for that game. I've been to 3 games in New York. All 3 we've won. In fact, Joe Boo's first football game was against the New York Giants after they had won the Super Bowl in 2013. So I'm looking at doing that game definitely. Possibly the Eagles game if I can get security. And definitely the Washington game. I may go to Atlanta, and I'm probably going to go to 2 games in Dallas. So hopefully we will see you there, Matt. But, God, those days when you had guys like Dexter Manley talking about cleaning and Danny White's clock, you had the Manster, Randy White, who didn't talk a whole lot, but he'd give you that look that put fear into those guys. And those guys truly didn't like each other. And it was just a thing of beauty to physically see those guys go out and knock the crap out of each other. Has Joe Boo ever earled off the rum? Well, you know what? He's earled a few times after some of the gut-wrenching games that we've had. Here it is that we've had victory like Green Bay and have it ripped out of us. So, yeah, he's tossed his cookies a few times. How do you get a shirt? Michael Byrne will have them after I get the first couple. I'll have them on the website to order. So in about another week, I'll have them up on the Cowboy Joe Boo link. That's where I have the shot glasses right now. And eventually, I'm going to have our racks for our shot glasses too, because we're going to probably be doing a couple of different shot glasses. We've got the Spread the Mojo, but we'll probably do Joe Boo's Black Sheeps as well. Um, the posse will be deep in Philly. Don't worry, Mark. Okay, that's easy to say now, but hopefully it won't be a drive-by. Um, well, he's Jackie. Okay, Jackie's alluding to Zach Desert was signed by the Cowboys a few hours ago. They ended up cutting Austin Appleby, and this is a guy who's been a journeyman. He was drafted, I think, in the seventh round originally by Denver. He's been in Miami and a couple other places having coffee. Um, and he's basically, yeah, he's the third string, fourth string quarterback on the team. Definitely a camp body and stuff, and they're just trying around because you never know. You might find somebody who you think can't play, but all of a sudden they fit your system and they start wowing you. So they're just trying out some different players here and there. And evidently Appleby didn't show too much, so they're trying somebody else. I believe McFadden is the number two running back. I think Alfred Morris is going to be the odd man out, and I think they'll probably end up signing somebody else during the season. Um, how would Cowboy Joe Boo like a but? Sure, why not? Which player am I more excited about, Jaylon Smith or Rico? Oh, I'm actually praying that Jaylon Smith is the real deal, and that's the guy I'm definitely excited about, and I'm hoping that the leg heals. Um, if he ends up being anything near what he was in college, he could be one hell of a difference maker for the Dallas Cowboys. Somebody we could definitely use that's a playmaker, and that's one of the things I feel good about because, like Xavier Woods, that's another guy. He may not start this year, but I think that he's the type of guy who's a playmaker. You've got guys, Zeke Elliott, of course, is a playmaker. You've got Ryan Switzer, who's another guy who, on punt returns, even though Dez wants to return punts, could be another playmaker. And you can never have too many of those guys because you get a kick return all the way back or you get an interception that goes all the way back and things like that. Those are game-changing plays, and that's something this team has been missing. We don't need Applebee's or Chili's. Come on, man. Oh, boy. Sarah. Des can back up Dak. Well, hopefully Dak doesn't need a backup. Hopefully he stays healthy. Um, yeah, I'm not. I'm with you, George. Let Switzer return the punts. I'm not a fan of putting Dez out there with the chance of him getting hurt. My opinion on right tackle, it definitely should be Collins, flat out. Collins, I think, will end up being a beast on there. Right now, it's basically Collins' job to lose on there, and it's just a question of who's going to be a starting guard. Well, Smith and Lee could be like thunder and lightning, and that would be a fantastic combination for linebackers. If he is healthy, I could dare say that we'd have the best linebacking core in our division. No, my birthday is. Okay. My birthday is actually October 10th. Joe Boo's is August 15th. National Rum Day. You got Dak's rookie card for me? Oh man, come on, man, you can't do that. That's a tough one to let go of. I appreciate that. Um, I think, well, Wayne, I think the O line could be better than last year because I definitely think that Collins is an upgrade over Doug Free. Doug Free had always been a great leader on the defense, on the offensive line, but his body was beginning to fail him, and I really think that he was the weak link, and I think we've actually upgraded by having Collins over there. Well, here's the thing with Rod Martinelli. He has to be happy because Matt Martinelli has done a lot with our defensive line with guys that were nobodies. I always hate to use George Selvey as an example, but he's a guy who was on four different teams 4 years in a row and had 3 sacks. And he turned him into a guy that got 8 sacks in a season, got paid, and went to New York. And I think he's, didn't do much in New York, went to the Rams, and I think he's out of football right now. But he's been able to take guys that have done nothing and turn them into productive players. But he has yet to really have top-notch talented guys to work with. And I'm interested to see what he's able to do with Taco and some of those other guys, and to see if he can keep David Irving progressing. And if he can get these guys going, if DeMarcus Lawrence, is healthy for once and has that full training camp, all of a sudden our defensive line can be really good. So I got to think that he's definitely happy about all those new toys. Well, Jackie, I agree with you on that. That Dez is definitely is high on the rookies, and I think that Dez was actually what he did as a rookie, which was buck the trend, kind of changed the whole narrative. Because you remember Roy Williams was talking about carrying my pads, and Dez looked at him like, I ain't here for that. I ain't carrying your pads. Carry your own damn pads. And they had the whole dinner where he had $30,000 ticket from dinner and stuff like that. And Dez was kind of the one that kind of changed that narrative, and it's like, instead of chastising these guys and beating them into the club, let's welcome these guys in because we need them. They're part of the family, and I love that. Winds blows, man. Okay. Good fellas. Eagles will win the NFC East this year. And they'll win the Super Bowl too, won't they? Oh, there's Holy Ways. Welcome to the house, man, Holy Ways. So tell me, Holy Ways, is it going to be safe for me and Joe Boo to show up in Philadelphia for the Dallas game? Tell me the truth. Will there be a hit out on me? I think Stephen Paya will definitely shine on our defense because he played really, really well with the Bears under Rod Martinelli, but then he went to the Redskins and Cleveland, and I got to tell you, those two are both the armpits of the NFL. Those are places where people's careers go to die. So, yeah, I think he'll definitely play better with our Dallas Cowboys defense. Good fella, stay off the weed. Yeah, he's been hanging out with the Giants. Collins could be. Collins played really well last year. Yeah, Devontae Moore. Oh, yeah, Moore. Yeah, Devontae Moore Stu is actually taking first-team reps ahead of Taco this past week. So it's going to be interesting that these guys are battling out for it. Whoa, Jeremy. Dude, you just got money to burn, don't you, man? I've got to get a box big enough for your shelf, and I got something extra special for you, dude. I know you said you came in after the stream ended, and I appreciate that hellified donation. But I have got something special that I've been holding on to for a while, and I think you're going to really, really love it. Well, the biggest problem is going to be playing time, and the one thing Green Bay did real well, they scouted the heck out of the Cowboys. You notice how they caught the Cowboys rotating. The Cowboys couldn't do their substitutions like they were, and they kept catching us off the field or trying to get guys off the field, and Aaron Rodgers was quick enough to get the ball snapped before that guy got out of bounds. So that's one of those things that Rod Martinelli's going to have to do, is those substitutions are going to have to be like that if you're going to be changing up, or else he's going to end up getting caught with his pants down. No, you're right, Jackie, but even laid back Dez is loving the vibe. No, Dez, I think Dez is happy to be healthy. But I think that this is something that's been lost on our team, is that Tony Romo has been there, but he hasn't really been there being able to practice because he's been injured. I think that this is huge, having Dak out there from the end of the season healthy, Pro Bowl and everything else, and working with these guys. I know that Tony Romo is great at coming back from injury and lighting it up immediately, but there's still a lot of work. Think about how many practices we've had already in OTAs that Dak and those guys have had that normally Tony Romo wouldn't have with the team because he's recovering from injuries. And I think that that's truly going to make big dividends for us this season. When you look at the Giants that don't have Odell Beckham there, working out their big play receiver and stuff like that. When you look at the Redskins that don't have guys like Trent Green in there, and you know that Kirk Cousins is really kind of perturbed because the Redskins haven't come up with, showed me the money, that the Cowboys, they're a family right now. They're practicing all together, and they are ready to go. They are hyped about the season. Fletcher Cox, another guy who hasn't Fletcher hasn't been showing up at practice yet either. Has he, Holy Ways? I believe he's been missing, hasn't he? Isn't he? Hasn't he? Time for me to call into the Benet Emery Show. And you didn't remind me, Sandman. I also do the Benet Emery Show on Monday nights here. So let me call in. I've been doing the Benet Emery Show for about 3 years. And in fact, if you'd heard some of my first shows, boy, I was kind of like this talking. And I guess they're not answering tonight. They got a new number, so interesting. Okay. Well, I guess here we go.
All right. Hey, Mark.
Yes, sir.
We started 20 minutes late.
Okay.
Oh, I'm stepping outside now.
Okay.
So,
The Day Emery Show started 20 minutes late. We started on time on the Joe Boo Sports Report.
no, say what? I'm gonna send you the links out there all on YouTube. I'm gonna send them to you.
Okay.
Right. So what now?
I said we're on live right now on the Joe Boo Sports Report. Are you asking me to call back in later?
Yes. Wait a minute. Wait a minute just a second. So we on live. All your fans are watching or listening right now.
They are listening right now and commenting, wondering what the hell is going on.
All right. So, Mark Holmes.
Yes,
are
sir.
You leaving the show?
Am I leaving the show? It's time to kind of grow a little bit. It could be that I am leaving the show. We'll talk about that during the break.
No, we ain't talking about doing the break. We on live. People want to hear live drama, Mark.
They want to hear live drama?
We 3 years strong, Mark. We going to the
Oh.
next level. Can't nobody do Cowboys like you. Cowboy season's finna come. Everything. We finna get paid and turn up and turn out.
That's a discussion to have between us and not have an argument over the the show, man. Because we're talking about the Dallas Cowboys here and how good they're looking in OTAs as opposed to the Giants, who can't stay off the weed. You know.
Wait a minute, hold on, Mark. We just had this new cat that signed. He just got a DWI down here.
Okay, yeah, okay, but he was from the Eagles. Okay. He's not really. He's a new signing, man. He's not really family. It's not like it was. Yeah, and more than likely, he's not gonna make the team. Yeah, he's more than likely not gonna make the team anyway. But when you have like
signed a 3-year, $11 million contract,
$10 million contract, basically it's a 1-year deal, man. Forget about that bottom number. Just look at the guaranteed money, and they could actually cut him and take a $2 million loss, and boom, no big deal. Because right now the Dallas Cowboys have some cash, man. They have $17 million. Because remember when those idiots kept saying that you got to pay Tony Romo anyway, so you should keep him on the roster. And I said, no, you need to go ahead and let him go because you get $14 million this year cap relief, and you end up getting another $9 million next year. And with that money, the team is going to be able to sign some other people. Now, we signed.
Well, I believe, hey, man, like I said, you haven't been wrong about the Cowboys yet. You don't make the last 3 number 1 picks and everything that you say.
I do my homework, man, and I got good old Joe Boo here because Joe Boo, good things always happen around him. So I don't know if he's guiding it or whatever, or making me think harder or whatever, but whatever it is, the combination is working.
Okay, we giving up too much. Real quick, 30 minutes. Call back in. We got everything up and running. I gotta get back on the air.
Okay.
So. Yes, Joe Boo Sport, the official Joe Boo Sports Report, will be back, ladies and gentlemen, in 30 minutes on the Benet Show with Mark Holmes. We'll see you later.
All right, so they had some problems on air. They are changing up the studio and all that, and so I got to call back in 30 minutes, which means I'm going to be up a little bit extra late tonight. So I've been doing the Benet Emery Show in Dallas for 3 years, and I may be leaving the show to try and do some other things. So I haven't decided. The show goes on break for the next month, and between now and then, I'll figure out what I'm going to do on that. But Benet Emery Show has been fantastic for me. It has been great because he gave me an opportunity before anybody else did. And I got to tell you, I learned a lot from being on those shows and how to communicate with people and just basically being used to being in front of a camera, because it's not easy. So do we get 90 minutes tonight? I don't know if we're going to do that, but we'll see what we get. It's not easy to do this, and I've been basically learning this on the fly. Like I tell you guys, when I say I'm technology challenged, doing this whole webcam, the whole setup, using the OBS system, it's all completely new to me, and I'm kind of learning as I go along. So it's coming together. I think if you've been part of the Jobu Sports Report for the last year, you know that it's changed look-wise, sound-wise, and everything else, and we've come a long ways, but we still have a long way to go because, I'm happy to see Holy Waves 15, an Eagle fan. That's in here. I love seeing all my Dallas Cowboy fans, and I want this thing to grow so that way people from other teams and all that can come in here, give their opinions. We can have a discussion about why your team sucks and why my team is so good. And if you can create an argument that is believable, hey, I'll fall in line with you. But that's what it should be all about. It should be all about us all being able to get along and have a conversation, because there's one thing we can all agree on, and that is we all love football. J.J. Watt is 35 in the top 100. Okay. Zach Martin, I believe, is 34 today. But how is J.J. Watt, who didn't play at all last year, 35? That goes to show you that there is nothing right about that whole thing. I can't, True Blue, I cannot wait for Oxnard. I'm hoping to come out, I think, on the 9th of August. Be there for that week when they practice with the Rams and then play in LA, and go to the game and then fly back home. We've got a lot of big projects that are going on, so hopefully I can get the time off for that, but I am looking forward to that. There was one in there. There was a new person there that said something, and I just missed it. A new follower, where'd you go? Somewhere in there's a new person. I want to thank you for joining into the show, and I hope you are enjoying it. Eagle Stoll, okay, from the Cowboys. Cam Chancellor is 34. Yeah, Cam is, but he's still getting paid and still getting it done. Raymond, I got to tell you, I have been truly, truly blessed with doing a lot of things. We were at NFL Honors, and seeing Dak and Zeke, we were up in the balcony, nosebleed seats, but, we were in the house. And I've got some pictures of them because they were sitting, Dak was in front, Zeke was seat right behind him. And to see the two of them go up on stage together was an incredible experience. Okay, Bat, if you guys really want me to go till 10:30, I might need a refill. It's not Holy. I think it's a female, Mark. Holly. Oh, Holly. Okay, well, Blake, forgive me. My eyes aren't as good as they used to be, and I'm looking across over here at a monitor, and so, it is Holly. Oh, Holly. Okay, I'm sorry, Holly. Hollyway, forgive me. My bad. We definitely need some more women in the house, and I appreciate that. I just don't talk a lot of shit. Good fella. Okay. Well, the good fella, that you're not the typical Eagles fan then if you don't talk a lot of trash. I really want to find this comment. Dante, well, here's the thing. You know what? I've actually got quite a few people that are subscribers to the channel that will tell me that, I don't like the Cowboys, but I enjoy the show. Because at least I make sense as opposed to most homers. So I'm okay. I'm a dude, and Holly is a made-up name. Okay. All right. Holly is a made-up name. It's a dude. Okay, forget it. Okay, sorry. I really need to move to radio. Okay, well, I've told that I have the face for radio, so there's that. Being lazy feels good. Same here, yeah. Carlos C. Thank you very much. If you guys do a super chat, put a question with it, so that way I can answer that specifically for you. And definitely, hey, Mark, of course. I appreciate that. See, good fella. I appreciate it, man. So, good fella, how do you feel about your team right now? Are you happy with what they've done? Would you like to see Jeremy Maclin re-signed by the team if you had the money to do it? Or would you like to see him cut Torrey Smith and bring back Maclin instead? Because Torrey kind of was injured a bit last year, and with San Francisco, Maclin kind of has familiarity. Tell me what you feel about your team. Well, Dante, from time to time, I'll go on some other team pages and troll them a little bit. Hell, I'll call Sports Talk 980, the Redskins station here, and troll them all the time. Oh, phew, a new follower. I appreciate it. It's Funkit? Did I pronounce that right? Now, if I don't get your name right, understand that I'm a name butcher. It's what I do, okay? I'm old, and I fuck up names. Chuck Baby. Training camp in 45 days. Can you believe that? It's like this off season has flown by, and I think it's flown by because we've been doing this every week or every night. That this off season has actually been fun. I mean, between Tony Romo, between the team and Dak and everything else, we've had so much to talk about. When the season gets here, it may actually slow down some. I'm not old yet, bro. Yes, I am, buddy. I'm not so sure about Dwight Freeney. I think we could sign him for a team-friendly contract, but I'm not sure that he's going to be better than what we have right now. And you may end up studying the growth of one of those guys. If you're going to sign a defensive lineman, you got to have somebody who's going to be heads and shoulders above what you already have. And I don't think that at this point in this stage of his career that he's head and shoulders above anybody that we have. Do I think we need more safety help? Well, that's an interesting thought. I think we have some guys. 80 is old. Okay. Ernie, I won't live to 80, buddy. I've actually, for black people, I'm like way past half my life being gone. I'm on the tail end side of it. Can I compare the Houston Texans to the Cowboys so the Texans fans will shut up? Okay, Taylor, I will do that. I will do a video comparing that. We'll call it the Battle for Texas. Now, the Texans do have a great defense, but their offense kind of leaves a little bit to be desired. DeMarcus Ware, well, that'd be interesting to see DeMarcus Ware as a coach. He definitely has some skills that he could try and pass on. You get Charles Haley, who's kind of in that role as well. We actually have a lot of former Dallas Cowboy players that are in there. Nate Newton does work with the team as well as some other guys. Freeney did do quite a bit, but again, it's another year later, and I'm not sure that he's going to be that big of an impact of a player at this point. Glad I'm not crying about Romo anymore. Are we talking about me? Because I wasn't crying about Romo. In fact, I was being called a Romo hater. Haven't heard anything about Andy Jones in a while. Life's short and bad credit. I like that. Well, Frank, thank you for joining the show. I love Romo. Face it. You know what? I've got nothing against Tony Romo. Romo played hellacious and left everything on the field, literally. Collarbone, backbone. Left everything literally on the field. Romo played great in years when we had nothing else other than Tony Romo. But unfortunately, you can't beat Father Time when it comes to football. And Tony Romo was at the point where his body was failing him, and I'm glad that he retired. Well, glad that he went to the television booth, because I'm not sure he's actually retired, than continuing to take those hits. when you look at some of these guys that are 45, 50 years old, and yeah, it is past George. It is past my bedtime. I get up at 4:45 in the morning to go to work. So yeah, I've been up for quite a while. So that's why I'm yawning. So forgive me. But his body was failing him, and when you look at some of these guys that are 50 years old and literally can't get up off the sofa, it's tragic. And Tony Romo, regardless of all the money that he's had, he's going to be at that point if he continues to take those hits. Take a look, just look up Brad Johnson and look at what he's going through right now. His body is completely destroyed. But let me ask you guys a question. Was there any freezing tonight on the show? I changed some of the settings, and hopefully it kind of dumbed down the amount of CPU that I was using. And hopefully it ended up giving us a better, keeping it from freezing up. Chad, I think, I tell you what, Dak has definitely got guys that are following in line behind him. I mean, completely following in line for him. I'm not saying that didn't happen with Tony Romo. Everybody loved Tony Romo, but for some reason, I just feel differently how these guys have literally just kind of come around Dak, and, I think they'd follow him to the end of the earth. At this point, I would say Anthony Brown, Jaylon, because Brown has a year underneath his belt, and I don't think he's going to be surprised as much as a rookie will be. No freezing. Glad to hear. No, we're good. All right. So we took another step tonight. We've had almost 200 people here, almost consistently all night. So I appreciate all of you guys joining in. What's the news on Noah Brown? The question will be it's going to be a numbers game on whether or not he's going to be able to make the team. He's been looking good so far, but there's only so many spaces out there. How much of a lights-out player do I think Jaylon Smith could really be? Really is. Well, if you look at some of the highlights of him playing in college, he was a beast. I mean, he's basically, had he not gotten injured, the thought would be is he's one of those generational players, one of those guys that only come around every 10 or 15 years. Now, the question will be, will that foot be where it needs to be? And nobody knows. They keep saying that it's beginning to fire, it's doing a little bit better and better and better, and that they're hoping by training camp that it'll be completely there. But there's no guarantee. It could stop getting any better tomorrow and just be where it is. It could all of a sudden just be perfect. You just don't know. But typically, what happens with those nerve endings is the longer it goes before it starts firing, the less chance it's going to come back completely. And he went through almost a year before he finally started getting some movement in it. He's definitely going to be playing with that brace, which basically takes that drop foot and helps to bring it back to keep it springing. You're seeing him move really well, but the question will be is moving well without pads and not taking on a hit is one thing. But when you're driving into a tackle or you're driving into a 300-pound guy and you're putting all that weight and all that pressure on it, will that thing hold up? And I think the Cowboys have been playing it right by taking their time. Having them practice one day, have a day off. Practice one day and take a day off. So that way they're not overworking it because it's still healing. It's still tender. And I'll give you an example. My leg was burned. I had third-degree burns and had skin grafting on it. It took a year for the skin to start to heal, and basically it was like baby skin. And literally took about 3 years before it was really back to where it normally would be. And that's the same thing whether it's your ACL and these joints and stuff. It literally takes a year or more for those things to really, really heal up. And with the damage that he had, I mean, it was almost like that leg was decapitated. If you look at that video, it's hard to even watch it. The fact that the guy still has a leg and can walk on it, to me, is an amazing thing as it is. So it went through a lot of damage. The ligaments and everything are fine. The problem is that nerve was damaged really, really bad. And, it's taking time to come back. Roberto, thank you, man. One of the best Cowboys of all time. Romo, yeah, definitely. Romo played really, really well. Great numbers and everything else in this era. But, unfortunately, the way you are judged is playoffs and Super Bowls. And unfortunately, he didn't get one. I wish that he had gotten one or two. Believe me, I wish he had. But, unfortunately, he didn't. Do I think Dez will be a top receiver this year and better than Odell? Well, I don't know that he'll be better numbers than Odell, but actually per completion, he had better numbers last year than Odell did. And I think that Dez is going to be breaking out for a really big season this year. I think the fact that last year, if you look at how slow he started, one, with the injury, but two, him and Dak Prescott didn't work together in OTAs and really in the preseason until Tony Romo got hurt. So they didn't have a whole lot of time of actually practicing together and getting used to each other. And the thing that happened with Dak is not going to force the ball because you're Dez Bryant. Dak was going to say, if this guy's open, I don't care what's called for you, Dez. I'm going to throw to this guy because I'm not throwing picks. So if you want the ball, Dez, you get your ass open. And so also with Dak Prescott being the rookie, they kind of dumbed it down the first half of the season. But as the season went on and Dez started working with him, you noticed that Dez's numbers and catches started going up and up and up and up. By the end of the year, the last 8 games, he was averaging almost 18 yards a catch. And I look for them to be able to take off from where they were last year, having this off season of working together now and being able to really, really light it up next year. But we'll see what happens. Jobu's jersey is dope. Well, thank you. That's his draft jersey. He's going to have to get his number 4 jersey back on. What's funny is, okay, I'm superstitious. Okay, believe me, I am truly superstitious. It's very bad to steal Jobu's rum inside of Tony's Romo locker in 2014. Jobu wore, from that point on, a Tony Romo jersey that season. Tony Romo had the best season of his career. I can't say that Jobu had anything to do with it. All I can say is that season was fantastic, and that's how we started out. During the preseason last year, we took off Tony Romo's jersey and we put on a Dak Prescott one. That's the game Tony Romo got hurt. And from that point on, I kept Dak's jersey on Jobu the whole year. Now, they lost the first game. When they came to Washington, we ended up meeting the team at the hotel. Dak Prescott walks by. Then Butt Fumble walks by, and mysteriously, the sign Jobu's holding just kind of fell when Butt Fumble went by. So I don't know if that was an omen about Butt Fumble or not, but Dak Prescott went on that tear from that point on, and it was basically towards the end of the season before he lost another game. Again, I can't say Jobu had anything to do with it. All I can say is good things have happened around Jobu. Texas representing, okay, in South Texas, okay. They don't like to hear, yeah, of course the Texans don't like to hear about them Cowboys. I know that they were happy the Cowboys didn't go to the Super Bowl this year to be invaded by all the Cowboy fans. What we're going to probably do, Big Three, is on the website, I'm going to end up having like a Jobu cooking corner where I've got a bunch of tailgate recipes and stuff. I actually have another YouTube channel, although I haven't used it in quite a while, called Spread the Mojo, and I've got a couple of the recipes I have for pulled pork and steak and cheeses. So, like, if you Eagle fans want some real steak and cheeses, check out that one. And also, Jobu's Mojo Punch is also on there as well. But I'm definitely going to be doing some more of those this summer and getting ready for tailgating, and we'll definitely be doing some when we do our tailgates. Mark Sanchez is a goat. Okay. I hope you mean literally a goat, not the greatest of all time. The Patriots are bad for football. I got to tell you, I'm sick of the Patriots. Oh, God. If I see them in another Super Bowl, I'm going to puke. Wow, voodoo. Now, listen, I'm not practicing any voodoo or anything like that, okay? I'm not, like, out here burning candles or, getting people's hair or sticking pin cushions or anything like that. I'm not into all that.
It really started because of an Eagle fan had said to me that the Cowboys suck so bad that not even Joe Boo could help. So I made it kind of for fun. But for whatever reason, from time to time, I would take it places and I kind of go, did that just happen? And I'll be honest with you, I'd be afraid to get rid of Joe Boo. I'm afraid that something would happen to me. Yeah, Jason Garrett. Okay, well,
You know what, Blake? Maybe that's a good thing that he's wearing Jason Garrett's old number, because maybe now Jason Garrett will have some mojo and we'll go to the Super Bowl. Look at it that way.
Put some ring on Joe Boo's hand and we'll get some Super Bowls. There you go. That's a good idea. I like that idea, Barry. Well, Quentin Lewis, and if you're from Louisiana, then I know you know about voodoo. And if you go to New Orleans, man, eat a shrimp poor boy for me. Well, actually, I got to stay on for another 10 minutes so I can call in for the Benet Emery show because they are late. So I'm about to be up anyway. Yes, Jason needs the mojo. Cajun food, yeah, definitely. I love some Cajun food. I'm better than First Take. Stephen A. Smith is a cowboy. Okay, I appreciate that. They might be jinx. Joe Boo's got his refill right here. It's pronounced po' boy. Okay. I got my refill right here. So don't worry, I'm good to go.
And just for good measure, I got my rum and Coke. Barry Parker, yeah, that's exactly what I need.
There's Finn. Finn, what are you doing up this time of morning, man? It's got to be 4 a.m. Sven is actually in Germany, so we are international. And I believe I've got shot glasses that should be delivered in England by now for Mark that's over there.
Roger Staubach is definitely my favorite all-time Dallas Cowboy player. To see him win that first Dallas Cowboys Super Bowl, great guy. I think he could still play football these days. But he's one of the few players that has charitable foundation that he funds himself. And he gives back, he gets it, and he's just a fantastic human being all the way around. Well, it wouldn't be the first time First Take has stolen my skit, but it is kind of fitting, though, because you think about it. Victor Cruz is cut. Now you've got my man who's smoking the weed. You got Odell, who is a head case, you know. So there's only one guy I think left. Who's left? Their other wide receiver. I'm getting old and my brain is failing me. But First Mistake is a horrible show. Wow. Give us my best Stephen A. Smith impersonation. Because they can't stay off the weed. Stephen A. Smith, all the way. Unfortunately, he did lose his mother, so hats off to him and what he's dealing with right now. As much as I like to make fun of him, you know, losing your mother is so sad. Well, Raymond, that's what Jerry Jones is trying to do right now. He's trying to get them to change the rules on it, which is part of the reason why I think they're holding on to Randy Gregory. That they're hoping that in the next year that they get it changed, and if they do, they've got him back on the field. Am I going to come for Indy to the Combine? You know, they are selling tickets to that event now. That would be interesting to see. They're actually talking about possibly moving that to L.A. in a couple of years, believe it or not. But I'm told that most of the teams like it being centrally located in Indianapolis. If Dak and Zeke don't make the top 100, then it would definitely be a travesty. And Sarah, you're definitely right. They are working on involving Zeke more in the passing game, without a doubt.
David, you live in the D.C. area. Hats off to you, man, because I know how hard it is being here in Redskin Air. How old is Joe Boo? I made him in 2012. Joe Boo's motto is spread the mojo. And that's the way I live my life. If you can do something good to somebody else, for somebody else, you do that, and they'll come back to you 10 times over. Trey, that would be interesting to see him run 2,000 yards, but I'm not sure I'd want to see him do that because generally what happens is when running backs get 2,000 yards, boom, their career starts going down the toilet. I would love to fast forward to games. Oh, man, I can't wait till the season gets here. It's just been hard being this off season. Well, here's the thing, Maurice. He's able to move around, so that means the back is definitely healed. He has the talent to play well. The question is, will his body go ahead and be able to do it? Now, it's one thing to be running around in shorts and, in jersey. It's another thing when you start hitting. So we'll have to wait and see how they're doing once they get on the field and actually start playing. Redskins will be in the basement this year. That's a possibility. Dak improves the most where this year? I think the deeper passes working with Des Bryant is where he's going to improve the most this year. Call-ins, okay. Shepard, thank you, Victor. Yeah, Shepard is the other one that let's see if anything happens with him. He was part of the whole cruise down there in Miami and the Juster Beaver curse. But so far, they got 3 of them. Dak reminds me of Staubach on the field. Yeah. Dumbass comment of the day. I haven't done that for a while, but I need to get back to that. And there's my son, Michael, who's back. What's happening?
This is mine, but that's the last one they had, too.
Oh,
This
man.
is the last one they had, too, at the store. The last one.
Where did you get this from? Oh.
Love, I think.
Oh, man. My son just got this Dallas Cowboy hat. The last one. I did get you that draft hat. The last one they had at the draft 2 years ago. Just say.
I sent out Dak Prescott signed that one.
Oh, boy. Yeah. So I got to call into Benet Emery show, so you guys got your bonus time. So let me call in here and see if they've got this shit together. Let's try this again. For Brandon Marshall as a man, well, I don't think Brandon Marshall's going to make that big an impact for that team. They already had good receivers. The problem was their offensive line and not having a running game. Okay. So they must still be having problems on the Benet show. And I got to go to work in the morning. So 2 times. We'll try one more time. Okay. We'll give him a minute and try it one more time. If I send you an email, would I reply to it? Of course I reply to it. I try to reply to everything. I try to reply to as many comments as I can. Unfortunately, there's so many of them that it's hard to keep up. Last month, there was over 16,000 comments, and that's a hell of a lot of comments. So it's kind of hard to keep up, but I do the best I can. Unfortunately, I am a one-man show. I've got to operate 2 computers. I got to make sure the microphone's plugged in because I forgot tonight. I've got to go ahead and do the website and everything else, so it gets to be quite a bit, but I enjoy it. It's a great way to kind of relax for me. Okay, we're going to try Benet's show one more time and see if they got it together. If not, we'll have to catch them later.
It's free speech.
Mm-hmm.
But
got
when I say that I don't care about the agenda, I don't expect a gay person to be out there protesting and marching and advocating for family rights. No, and so I'm not going to advocate for gay rights. It don't mean that I'm not against it.
Well, James, you got some black gay men, gay women.
Yeah, you got some white gay men, Hispanic. You got all races of gay.
Hold on. We got to cut this short because we had Mark Holmes.
You got Mark Holmes online?
We got Mark Holmes on the line. What's up, Mark?
Man, it's past my bedtime, man. I'm falling asleep over here. Can you hear me?
We can see you, Mark.
You can see me? You can't hear me?
Yeah, we got you right now, Mark.
Okay, all right. I said, it's past my bedtime, man.
I know it, dog. Hey, man, we got into a heated discussion. I actually wished you were here for the simple fact we just got this dope movie called Battle Line.
Okay.
You can follow it on Facebook, Instagram, and on Twitter. And it's written in 3 parts, one from the black father's perspective, one from the black mother's perspective, and one from the cop's perspective. So hopefully this movie, I can't wait to see it. The trailer just came out. It will address some of the questions that a lot of us have to answer. That being said, what's going on with my Dallas Cowboys? Why we sign somebody that can't stay sober and drive drunk, Mark?
That was one of those signings where it was basically an insurance policy because they weren't sure what they were going to be able to get in the draft. Nolan Carroll didn't play that well last year in Philadelphia, although he was in a different defense. He's actually in the right kind of defense with the Dallas Cowboys, and it's not something that he had done in the past. It's just one of those things that just kind of happened. Supposedly he had a welcome to Dallas party he was hosting, and unfortunately I guess he got welcomed a little too heavy and had a few too many to drink and got pulled over. But at least the good thing is he's not blaming the police or anybody else. He's kind of owning up to it. But with that being said, it's going to be difficult for him to actually make the team with all of the players that we've got back there now. When you looked at our team going into the offseason with the 21 free agents, we were just worried about having warm bodies out there. But the Cowboys have been able to sign a lot of great players, have a fantastic draft, and now we've got people that are actually competing for positions.
Exactly. So, what we got going on next with the Cowboys, dog?
Well, we've got 2 more days of OTAs this week, voluntary. They're actually voluntary, but everybody, and I mean everybody, has been there for the Dallas Cowboys. And everybody has been there working out. You got Dez Bryant acting like a young man wanting to return punts, and even guaranteed that if he gets the opportunity to return punts, he will take one to the house and says, when I do, contact me. You got Josh Norman, who we found out is supposed to be shadowing the number 1 receiver. So he's written a check. We're going to find out if his behind can cash, saying that he can cover Dez Bryant, who is just a guy. A healthy Dez Bryant, who's been working with Dak Prescott all offseason. And I look for a big, big season from Dez Bryant.
So I got some emails. They want to know if you're concerned about Zeke Elliott hitting the sophomore wall. And they were referring to, I don't know, this cat that's in L.A. That almost rushed for 2,000 yards, and this year he barely got 1,000 yards.
True, but see, here's the thing. This team is a very complete team, and literally the holes that offensive line opens up, my old cripple ass could get through and pick up 2 or 3 yards on. Okay? Now, Zeke does look like he's put on a couple of pounds and everything else, but I think that's going to wear off real quick. And with the amount of weapons and tools and everything else, I'm not worried about Zeke.
All right, Mark. Well, homie, I'm looking forward to a great season. I don't think there has been this type of excitement in the DFW area for the Cowboys in a really, really, really long time.
It was exciting last year.
And
last year,
we didn't know what to expect last
right.
year. So last year was a surprise. This year, we expected to win the decision.
Wait, what do you mean? What do you mean it was a surprise? What did I tell you before the season started? I said, don't worry about Dak Prescott. I said they're going to be all right. It shouldn't have been a surprise. Because if you would listen to me, which you never do, you would know that the Dallas Cowboys were going to be all right last year. I don't know why you don't listen to me. How many times have I been right, dog?
See, and I love this brother to death. You've seen this young come in, win Rookie of the Year. Next year,
Lord.
Year after that, he's out the league.
You talking about Mr. 17 on the Wonder Link?
First year, then when teams get film and start to study and do all of that, and then they fall off. That's the only reason why.
You're comparing apples to oranges, man.
Okay, I'm just saying, dog. But hey, like I said, you are absolutely correct. You have not been wrong about the Cowboys.
So you should start believing him.
Look, Sherry, first off,
I'm sorry.
you don't even like football. You're a female.
But she's cute.
Thank you.
Sherry is not. Mark, have you seen Sherry?
No, I haven't, but I will check her out.
Get together.
You're the only dark one in the room now.
And I'm representing. So that being said, Mark, Give me a prediction. What you thinking right now at this particular age? I mean, this particular what you've seen, the draft, all of that stuff. I'm still suspect about the linebacking core. The secondary, I kind of feel a little bit better, but that linebacking core.
No, I tell you what, if Jaylon Smith is anything, they will have the best linebacking core in the NFC East. And the key will be is the rotation on the defensive line. And I'm looking at a lot of good parts. We don't have a superstar sack machine, but we have a lot of really good guys that'll be like 5 to 8 or 9 sacks. And I think collectively we'll get over to that 40 sack mark. And that 40 sack mark is one of those statistics that's really, really key. It's the difference of being a Super Bowl team and not being one. And that's something that this team has just not had in a long, long time. We've been hovering around the 29. We got 34 this year, which was better, but we got to get over 40, and I think we have the opportunity to do that.
I thought that gap got filled. What's the guy that was hurt all last year?
DeMarcus Lawrence and also Tyron Crawford were two of the guys that were hurt. But DeMarcus Lawrence has come back. He had the back surgery, and he's looking pretty good right now. And with the other guys like Collins in there, you got Taco Sundays, and Demontre Moore has actually been taking first-team snacks as well. So you got a lot of, over Taco. Yeah, so Demontre Moore Stew. Remember, I nicknamed it the Stew. Okay, we got Taco, we got Stew, and we'll see what else we got in there. But I think that these guys are going to be fantastic on the pass rush.
All right, Mark, tell folks how to get in contact with you, homie.
Definitely check out my YouTube channel, Mark Holmes, or if you just click Cowboy Joe Boo, you'll find it. And basically anything Cowboy Joe Boo, be it Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, you'll find us there. We live stream Monday nights while we're doing the Renee Emery show, and also on Friday nights. And we're always talking about the Dallas Cowboys and anything going on in the NFC East.
All right, my man. See you. Well, we have a conversation.
We'll definitely have a conversation.
Hey, look here, Mark. I know you don't want to talk about this live on air, but if you decide not to come back, first off, let me thank you for everything that you've done for this show.
What?
Hold on, before you say something, because let me thank you because I appreciate you. I appreciate everything you've done. I appreciate your hard work, your dedication, and the Renee Emery show will not be a stellar show unless you put in the work that you've put in. So that being said, if you decide, that grass is green on the other side and you have other ventures that you want to explore, there is no hate, there is no animosity. I'm extremely proud of you and everything that you accomplished. We met through a friend, we became friends, and I wish you nothing but the best and super success in everything you do, and I love you. I love you like a brother.
Man, I appreciate that. But like I was telling my people over here, man, that, you gave me a shot when nobody else did. And I learned a whole hell of a lot doing the show because I remember the first couple of shows I was going to make the Dallas Cowboys. And that's so it was definitely a learning lesson. And it's been fantastic for me over the years and things. But here's the key is, man, you got to learn to start listening to me, man.
Hey, man, Mark, I listen to you about the Cowboys. No, you don't. I do listen to you about the Cowboys.
Tell him, James. Preach to him, James.
About the Cowboys, I will come right back and say, Mark said he picked Dak Prescott. Ladies and gentlemen, he picked Dak Prescott. He picked Taco. He picked Ezekiel Elliott. Everything this man has said has come true. Every single thing. I understand why he got close to 10,000 people that subscribe to him on YouTube. He is the epitome and the authority on the Dallas Cowboys. He does his homework. So that being said, my homeboy, we'll look for. Me and you will have a conversation later.
Okay.
Love, brother. If this is your last time on the show, thank you.
All right, we'll talk.
All right, my man.
Okay.
All right.
Wow. Okay, so that kind of ran over a little bit longer than normal. We've been having some discussions and stuff like that and some changes and things. And we're not sure where we're going to be with that goes, with it. So they actually go on hiatus for the next 3 weeks and we'll see where it goes. But with that being said, I have been on the air for an hour and a half straight and my ass is tired. But I want to thank everybody who tuned in tonight. This thing is growing like crazy, and I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Anthony, thank you for the salsa. Thank you guys for the super chat. Thank you guys for all of the wonderful comments and everything else. Even you Eagle fans, I appreciate you guys coming in here. So any news on the Dallas Cowboys, we'll be bringing it to you live. And I want to thank you guys so much, because you guys really make it special for me. And with that being said, I want you guys to have a great week, and I will see you tomorrow.